Welcome to Save U.S. Taxes Legally. I want to teach as many U.S. Real investors, U.S. business owners, U.S. entrepreneurs, U.S. franchise owners, and also 1099 how they can save taxes. What I'm going to teach you today is the secret of the rich. Imagine saving taxes year after year, generation after generation. Imagine no one knows what you own, where you own it, how much you own, what you do with it, how much you sell it for. Imagine all lawsuits become frivolous and go away. How much time, anxiety, and worry just disappear. This is the power of the Spendthrift Trust. It's legal. It's in the IRS Tax Code 643B. I'm going to share my screen so we can see this. Now, my website is thetrustisyou.com. I also have a free class on the Great Discovery, my first name and my last name put together. This comes from England way back when King Henry VIII started the Church of England. Yes, that famous king who chopped off his wives' heads, murdered a few ladies, started a church. Why not? He went to go tax the lords and ladies of England, and they went further back to the 13th century to the Magna Carta and said, oh, no, King Henry VIII, you can't do this. It's contract law that came to the colonies while we were still part of England. The law firm I work on behalf of inherited a trust that turned 350 years old in 2023, before we were a country. Our current tax structure that we are under went into effect February of 1913 and was only supposed to be around for a few years. The super rich families of 1913, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Carnegies, and the Kennedys made sure they could save taxes. Unfortunately, the United States got involved in World War I, and our tax code has been around and grown and grown and grown and grown. Let me share my screen. Whoops, go down. Now, most people are unaware that there are 7 different brackets to taxes and 4 ways to file your taxes. On January 1st of 2025, the IRS quietly, single's the most expensive way. Head of household, you are a single parent with a child 18 or younger, married filing separately, and then the cheapest way is married filing jointly. Check out what the IRS did on January 1st, 2025. They quietly changed married filing separately to be the same amount as single all the way up to the 37th percentile. If you get nothing else out of this meeting, if you are married, please file married jointly. You'll save thousands of dollars in taxes. Just taking up 32% tax bracket, they start taxing you at 32% at $394,601. And if you're filing separately, they're going to tax you at $197,301. We're talking about over $250 difference on that. Now, my personal story so that you have it. My mom, October 2018 was my watershed month for me. My oldest nephew, I was living in Phoenix, my oldest nephew was getting married in Charlotte, North Carolina. My mom and dad drove from Goodyear, Arizona, 20 miles west of Phoenix, to Charlotte. We're supposed to be gone for 2 weeks. I was working as a Medicare broker. I had requested the Friday before the wedding and the Monday after the wedding off because I had friends and family coming in from all over the world. I had the vacation saved, and I was denied. You know about anything about Medicare? Open enrollment is from October 5th to December 7th, or maybe it's October 7th to December 5th. I forget the dates. And they wouldn't let me take off the 2 days during that. Second thing that happened, my brand new 3-week-old car, a Hyundai Veloster with a moonroof. You need that in Phoenix at night. I'm driving to work to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm the second car through on a green light. Some idiot runs the red light, T-bones me on my passenger side. He has no insurance. And silly Sally has the paperwork on her kitchen table for gap insurance. The car is 3 weeks old. She had 4 weeks to file the paperwork. I'm upside down and I needed another car. And then the third thing, my parents drove to Charlotte for the wedding. My dad calls me Thursday before the wedding to say my mom's in the emergency room and they're not sure what's wrong. He said, don't change your flight. We'll meet you at the Charlotte airport, 7:05 in the morning. I had my backpack because I'm only there for 2 days. My nephew who's getting married, his younger brother are there. We go out to IHOP for a family breakfast. My two nephews go back to the house. My dad takes me to the hospital to see my mom. I walk in on the priest giving my mom last rites. I did not know she was that sick. She ended up having septic of the blood or blood poisoning. She was on a ventilator for 13 months, in a hospital for 15 months. Thank God she got better and came home. My mom and dad stayed in the Charlotte area for 9 months. I lived downtown Phoenix. I was driving out to their house once a week to do the mail because my dad had planned to be gone for just 2 weeks. First week of December, there was a letter that was 27 pages thick. It was my mom's Medicare statement. The emergency room and 1 month on a ventilator cost $72,000. My dad, who was a retired military officer, everything's being taken care of. I'm standing in my parents' kitchen. I have 2 car payments and just 1 car. I hate my job. I have a $10,000 deductible on my health insurance. When that accident happened in October, I asked everyone, please don't call an ambulance. I'm only bleeding from my wrist. Don't call an ambulance. I have student loans because I went to graduate school, and I have a mortgage. Right then and there, I called my friend Glenn, who had invited me to a real estate meeting way back in August of 2018. And Glenn answers, and I'm like, Glenn, I need to change my life. And he's like, Sally, next Saturday, we're having a Christmas potluck dinner. Bring a $5 gift and some food and meet my fellow real estate investors. Okay, I'm going to go to a party where I just know Glenn and Rhonda and nobody else. A little bit scary, but I did it. Best decision of my life. There at the party, I met my mentor, Jay Tannenbaum. In 2019, with his help, I wholesaled 7 bank-owned properties nationwide. Woohoo! I'm a rock star in my real estate group. Paid off all my debt, had $50,000 in my bank account for capital gains because I'm a good little real estate investor, and we continue through 2020. Now, COVID struck. I used the date March 17th because my mom's from Ireland, and we canceled a huge St. Patrick's Day party because of COVID. On April 1st, my 3 properties didn't pay me, so I had no money coming in. And on April 4th, my CPA called me to say, congratulations, Sally. You made so much money in 2019. Your tax bracket went from 22% to 24%. Congratulations. I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, you owe the federal government $94,000 in short-term capital gains. I only had $50,000 saved. He told me, make an appointment at his office where he was going to set me up on a payment plan with the IRS with interest and everything else dealing with this. My solution, I took out a HELOC on my paid off townhouse. Completely defeats the purpose of being paid off. I go to bed that night crying because I'm like, I shouldn't have had to do that. A fantastic book to read is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Next day, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I know I had read an article about the Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust. It's called The Office. Well, if the Rockefellers can save taxes, why can't Sally save taxes? It took me 5 months to research the law firm. Actually, when I called the law firm I work on behalf of, they said they're accident attorneys. I'm an affiliate of the law firm. They let me talk to all the people. Next day, I don't know why I answered the phone, but it was an unsolicited call from California, and it was the gentleman who sold both my business and my beneficial trust to me. I became his affiliate because I started teaching in my real estate group how they could save taxes. I called Richard. He and I talked on a Thursday afternoon. He was supposed to send me something, and by Tuesday, he had not sent it to me. And I'm like, wow, I'm really annoyed. I call his cell phone, and a woman answers. She goes, Richard died of appendicitis on Saturday. I thought everything was done for. 2 days later, the law firm called me and said, since you've sold 14 trusts, we want to make you a direct affiliate of our law firm. Thank God they did that. Then I had a falling out with the gentleman who I had a 50-50 agreement with the gentleman who ran the real estate group. He cheated me out of $5,000 on a deal we did together. And my Thinking to Results coach, if you know who, I just forgot his name. Not good. But my Thinking to Results coach told me I had to do 3 things. I had to move, I had to start my own company, and I had to find a new real estate group. That I was in North Carolina for Christmas when this all happened. This was January 12th of 2022. Over Christmas in Charlotte, North Carolina, I was doing a thing called upset bids, and I won 3 upset bids. I wholesaled them. My brother's like, "Did you rob a bank? What are you doing?" So let me get to the next page. With the trust, the law firm I work on behalf of was started by Paul Benson, a Harvard Law professor who wrote 5 separate trusts to save specific taxes. Today we're going to talk about 2 of them, but I want you to know about all 5 of them. The business trust is for business owners, entrepreneurs, franchisee owners, and 1099 income earners. You will save at least 90% on federal income taxes yearly, and in 43 states no longer pay state income taxes legally, and you pass it on to the next generation. Second trust, the Beneficial Trust, is for all U.S. investors. You will stop paying capital gains when you sell something at a profit, interest income taxes if you're a passive investor, dividend income taxes if you're in the stock market, rental income taxes if you are a real estate investor, and royalty income taxes if you have talent or if you're in the NFT world. The third trust is the Mineral Rights Trust. I've only sold one of these. One of my Beneficial Trust clients inherited his granddad's horse farm in Oklahoma. On the horse farm, there are 6 oil wells that are producing oil income. The oil income goes through the Beneficial Trust. All his real estate and everything else he does in crypto goes through his Beneficial Trust. Then there's the Charitable Trust. So if you're a 501c3 company, several of my clients are saving so much money in taxes, they start their own charities. And then finally, there's what's called the Senior Trust, where if someone's 65 or older, incapacitated, this trust is to help save all their assets. I don't like this trust very much because a senior is it's a blind trust for them. I've only sold 2 of those. One had a stroke and the other one had dementia. Now, tax code, IRS Tax Code 643B. If you Google IRS Tax Code 643B or you talk to your CPA, they will bring up the IRS opinion letter dated August 9th of 2023. The IRS literally says they do not like Tax Code 643B. They do not like the Irrevocable, Complex, Discretionary, Non-Grantor Spendthrift Trust. It's their opinion. In my opinion, lima beans suck. You can't swallow them whole. You have to cut them up. I hate lima beans. But you need all 5 elements to make the Spendthrift Trust work. Irrevocable means it goes from generation to generation. The Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust is 7 generations old and has over 400 people under the same EIN number. Complex. This trust can hold money from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, decade to decade, century to century. 97% of the trusts sold in the United States are what my mom and dad had and what Susie Orman talks about on PBS television. The family trust or the living trust. It avoids probate and then it dissolves and goes away. There's nothing wrong with the family trust, but it does not save you taxes. Discretionary. Whoever's the trustee or trustees can make the rules for all the beneficiaries. There's no infighting, there's no contesting the will, and it can also be done from the grave. One of my clients, a husband and wife in Los Angeles, who have 4 apartment buildings, they have an adult daughter who has a problem. They're allowing her to live rent-free in one of the apartments if she does 4 random drug tests. She actually took her mom and dad to federal court to say this was unconstitutional. The judge read over the trust and he said, you've got 2 choices, move out, pay your own rent, or pass the drug tests. I do not want to be invited to their Thanksgiving dinner. Non-Grantor. This makes the trust 100% private. When my mom and dad started their family trust, they were really original. It was the Gimmon Family Trust. That my mom and dad were both the grantors or the settlers, and when they both pass away, that's when the trust dissolves. When you start a spendthrift trust, you're going to have someone who will never be a beneficiary and who will never be a trustee sign up to be the grantor, and then they sign themselves away. They have no access to anything about the trust. When someone tries to research the trust, they'll know it's based out of Texas because that's where the law firm is, and that they'll know that the grantor. I use a family friend, Roy. He's on both my trusts. Since I started this in September 2000, unfortunately he's passed away, but my trust is completely private. And then the last part, the spendthrift. This has been in front of the United States Supreme Court on 2 separate occasions, and it's won both times. You can't get more legal than that. Now, next page, the business trusts. This is for all U.S. business owners, entrepreneurs, franchisee owners, and 1099 income earners. This is an actual client. He called me on January 3rd. He was in the Army, and he works for a defense contractor in Northern Virginia. He knew in 2024, he made $150,000 at a 1099 job. He had nothing to show for it. He drives a 10-year-old car, and he lives in an apartment with 2 roommates. So we discussed this. 90% on federal income taxes would be $25,962 plus 5.75% of Virginia state income taxes of $8,625. So he will save for the full year of 2025, excluding 5 dates. He bought the trust on January 5th. He would save $34,587 for the full year, or $2,882 per month. He could put this back into his sales position. He could buy a new vehicle. He could go on vacation. He could give it to his favorite charity, or he could save retirement. No. What he's going to do is he's going to take that $34,587 and put a down payment on a house in Northern Virginia. Again, if you're making at least $100,000 gross, you will save 5 figures in taxes year after year, generation after generation. It's an amazing document. Now, this is my first property that I had in the trust. I bought it in July of 2020 for $20,000. Oh, the 2020 is going there. The contract from the bank, it was a reverse mortgage. It was going to go auction for $50,000. I knew the spread of $20,000 to $50,000, that $30,000 at 24% tax bracket would be $7,110. It didn't go to auction until August 28th of 2021, and the final bid was $64,326. Woohoo! Without lifting a hammer, I made $44,326 on one property. More importantly, at 24% tax rate, I got to save $10,368 I'll never have to pay back. What I did with that $10,368 was invest it into more real estate. Since I started this trust, I have wholesaled 28 properties. I have a crypto bot between Bitcoin and Ethereum. I get paid on a little bit on every one. I have 3 rentals. I have 12 notes from the paper on the house, and I have 3 seller financings, all through this trust. So the beneficial trust is going to save you in 5 taxes if you're an investor. Short-term capital gains are just like federal income taxes. Long-term capital gains we'll get to in just a moment. So depending on what your tax bracket is, you make $50,000 in profit. This is how much you would pay depending on what you're doing. Short-term capital gains. You're selling crypto. You're a forex investor. You're doing options trading on the stock market. You're wholesaling. You're fix and flipping. You're doing auction houses or tax liens. Interest income taxes are the same as federal income taxes. Those are for passive investors, people in mutual funds. Maybe you're in a REIT. You're doing subject to real estate. You're doing the BRRRR strategy. I told you I have notes where I'm the paper in the house. People pay me their mortgage. If you're doing creative financing, seller financing, or forex investing. Yes, forex investors, you get double tax. You need to know about the Spendthrift Trust. Dividend income taxes. If you're in the stock market, you're a day trader, you're a futures trader, you're doing commodities, or you're living off of dividends. Again, tax between 10% to 37%. Rental income taxes are the same as federal income taxes. So if you have short-term rentals like Airbnb, vacation rentals, maybe you have 3 doors, 5 doors, 10 doors, 100 doors. Maybe you're in apartment buildings, multifamily, you have commercial property, or you're doing Airbnb arbitrage. Yes, you can move a property with depreciation schedule into the trust. Yes, you can move a property with cost averaging into the trust, because remember, your information is completely private. LLCs, S corps, and C corps are state law or statutory law. In Arizona, it was a corporation commission. Here in North Carolina, it's a Secretary of State. Anyone can go on either the Arizona Corporation Commission or the North Carolina Secretary of State and research LLCs, S corps, or C corps 24/7, and 40% of them get sued every year. Also, remember, all lawsuits become frivolous. Can't stop you from being sued, but once an attorney sees that you have a spendthrift trust and they'll get nothing to your assets, the lawsuit stops. So if the renter's dog gets out and bites the mailman, or anything like that. Now, the one tax that's not on here is royalty income taxes. They're taxed a little bit less, between 10% to 35%, 7 different layers. But if you are an actor, an actress, a musician, an author, you are have NFT world, copyrights, patents, or intellectual property, you will save those taxes year after year, generation after generation. Now, long-term capital gains are a year or more and affect you when you sell a business, when you sell an investment property, or you sell a baseball card. This is an actual client of mine. The son saw my TikTok video, contacted me. His father and mother were selling a family restaurant in Kentucky, as is, for $3 million. The cutlery, the food, the recipes, everything else. His father, Jim, had never been on Zoom, so we talked on the phone. He told me he was working with a business broker named Sam and gave me his number. We had to change the contract that was going to be signed in 48 hours. When I told Sam about the business trust, he's like, I need that. I'm going to make $30,000 off this deal, and I have 4 more that are going to come through happening very soon. Sam has sent me quite a bit of business. Sam tells Michael, who's buying the restaurant, about the business trust. Because Sam is my affiliate, he made $1,000 on that. Michael, who has 7 restaurants in 3 different states, gets to save a lot of money on federal income taxes. So I am not a CPA, I'm a real estate investor, but at 15% at $3 million, they got to save $450,000, or at 20%, they got to save $600,000. His wife, Anne, knew about the trust. She didn't know how much they were saving. I got an unsolicited phone call on March 30th of 2023. It was Anne saying she was going to contact somebody on my lottery dream home because they were looking for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo down in Florida near their daughter and their 2 grandchildren. Now, I have run into this quite a bit, especially I just had a client who wanted to save dividend income taxes. He was 70, she's 69. They were making so much money in their dividends, because what IRMA does, every October, the IRS goes back 2 years to anybody who's on Medicare and checks 1040 tax returns. Everything's added together. Social Security payments, pensions, wages, 401k withdrawals, SEP withdrawals, interest income taxes, capital gains, dividend income, and rental income taxes. They were making so much money on their smart investors that they were going to save quite a bit of money with their dividends. When I talked to him about IRMA, the husband didn't realize how much they were paying. They each were paying an extra $485 per month on their Part B, which is your doctors and your medical tests, and Part D, which is your medical insurance, which is your prescriptions. Besides saving them dividend income tax, never paying dividend income taxes again, I got their deductible for Social Security down to $185. So because that's how IRMA works. So if you're over 65 and on Medicare, making too much money, the trust will save you that too. Now, if you would like to reach out to me, you can make a 30-minute tax breakthrough session at www.thetrustisyou.com/scheduling. If you go out to my free class on the Great Discovery, you're going to get a similar presentation. You're going to get 3 articles from Forbes magazine. I did not write, but talking about the trust. And then you're going to also get 2 pages of case law so you can research this to your heart's content, and then examples of clients saving thousands of dollars. I'm going to stop sharing right now. I just want to say thank you for coming to the meeting. I'm going to stop recording, and if you would like to come off mute, I can answer any questions you might have. So let me first stop the recording.